Well, for more on President Obama's upcoming visit to Senegal, VOA West Africa correspondent Anne Look joins us now via Skype from Dakar, Senegal. Good evening, Anne. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you.
Well, has President Obama touched down yet and his family?
No, he should touch down in, I think, about 2 hours. So yeah, the city's still kind of getting ready. Life is kind of as normal. You know, there's more police presence downtown, a bit of anticipation, but nothing significant yet.
So when you say things look normal, you're saying people are not lining the streets of Dakar with flags and waving all sorts of banners welcoming him there, as we've seen what happened when you went, when you went to Ghana?
I think his welcoming at the airport will be a slightly smaller affair. I think a lot of people are planning to go downtown to try and line the streets to welcome him as he comes for his meeting at the presidential palace. So I think tomorrow morning might be the big popular welcome.
So if you could give us a heads up, what is President Obama and President Macky Sall expected to discuss and agree on during this time?
Yeah, they're expected to discuss, obviously security issues in the Sahel, counterterrorism efforts. And then they're also expected to talk about trade issues and the economy. And, there is a lot of expectation here in Senegal that, they want something to come out of this. They want something to come out of this visit. The prestige is nice and they're very proud and they're very honored to have President Obama visit, but they want something tangible. They want a new economic initiative, a new partnership, new investment, So I think that probably will be a lot that'll be discussed in the meeting between the two heads of state.
If you could maybe even go a little further into that. Senegal has been on the itinerary of the past 3 presidential visits, of course, Obama now, Bush, and Clinton before. What has come out of that you can tell us about? What are people maybe feeling the positive impacts of these visits to particularly Senegal?
Yeah, there's definitely, for example, people talk about health intervention, the president's malaria initiative, things like that. USAID is one of the key donors to Senegal, and they've had a lot of success in fighting malaria, reducing infection rates, things like that. So I think on that front, the partnership has been a success. These previous efforts by previous administrations in the U.S. have had an impact in Senegal. But I think now we want to go a step further. They want Africa to become, they want Senegal, they want Africa to become a major player in the global economy. And so they tell me, we don't need America to help us, to drag us there, but we would like a little assistance. We would like, maybe a framework or an initiative to help kind of give us a little boost, so we can kind of take off on our own.
The issue of human rights, which President Obama is also expected to touch on. In Senegal, what areas of human rights are of concern to Senegalese?
Maybe not so much to Senegalese, but to the international community. There's the issue of homosexuality in Senegal. It's still illegal here in Senegal, and it's a very taboo subject. A few years back, it sparked, violent protests. Groups were going and digging up supposedly gay men from Islamic cemeteries and dragging them through the streets. Really, so that could come up. And then also, things like the issue of the talibé, like the beggar boys, the Islamic students who beg on the streets, who, for example, Human Rights Watch has said are subject to, exploitation, abuse. And I know the U.S. in the past has tried to put a bit of pressure.
What about on the issue of Casamance? Anything on that front?
The U.S. Embassy here tells me that they are working on that front. I believe they do have a special envoy here kind of trying to help support those peace efforts that are being, this new president, Macky Sall, has also pledged to make peace in the Casamance and has a new team down there trying to negotiate some kind of a deal. And I know the U.S. Embassy is helping that, is working with them on that.
And very briefly, Anne, my last question to you is, of course, the planned trip to Robben Island, which every president goes to. What are you hearing along those fronts for President Obama specifically and the First Lady?
Yeah, they'll go to Gorée Island.
Gorée Island, of course, yes.
Gorée Island, it's the kind of old slave fort, one of a transit point from Africa to the Americas during the transatlantic slave trade. I've been out there myself. It's a very moving experience. They've renovated one of the old slave forts into a museum. you can experience, where you can take a tour, where you can see the cells, you can see the door of no.
Well, thank you so much, Anne. I actually happen to know exactly what you're talking about because I did go there, and it is it's quite gripping. But thank you so much for sharing with us what is going on in Senegal, and definitely we'll be getting back to you once the president has landed.